I want to put a chart on the screen here and interact with it. It is simply this. It's long-term holder supply at a loss. And so as you can see it on the screen here, you can see, first of all, our relevant time here, 2026, that we have seen a dramatic spike up in the amount of long-term holders at a loss, that the violence of this spike has been quite significant as Bitcoin has gone down in price. But the other thing I want to point out is that you can see some level of diminishing returns. I don't want to say returns, but each bear market, the amount of long-term holders in a loss goes down typically. You can see let's not count nobody ever really counts 2011, 2012. That was just a unique time in Bitcoin's history. But in 2014, 2015, you could see that we spiked up to a very significant amount as people and wallets, entities that held their Bitcoin for more than 1 year were sitting at a loss. And a lot of them were sitting at a loss as Bitcoin went down from $1,300 down to, what was it, 150 or so? I don't remember the exact price. But then we have 2018 going into 2019, a significant spike up, but to a lower level. There were fewer long-term holders sitting in a loss in the 2018 to 2019 bear market. And then in 2022, same deal. We saw a spike up, and then for a decent amount of time, long-term holders were just sitting in a loss. And now here we are in 2026, and what are we going to make of this particular time? Well, looking at the chart, something that you can see that's kind of interesting here is that we're at about the same level. We haven't spent as much time, but we're at about the same level as 2022. And if you were to expect diminishing levels as Bitcoin has become more of a mature asset, you wouldn't have thought that long-term holder supply at a loss would have gotten up to those same levels. But here we are. We're in 2026. We're at the same level as 2022. And we haven't peaked at a lower level. And my response to that is, that's kind of music to my ears, because if we are to generally expect this to kind of decrease over time as Bitcoin becomes less volatile, and we're at the same level that we were in 2022, when bear markets have typically brought us to lower levels, lower peaks, then it makes sense to me that now is just a good time to be buying Bitcoin. There's lots of metrics that I can show, lots of metrics that I have shown. And as far as DCAing into Bitcoin is concerned, it just makes sense right now. So what do we make of this? I guess the worst case scenario from here, yeah, Bitcoin can absolutely go lower. But in my head, looking at this chart, the worst case scenario is that we would have a repeat of 2022, where we would just spend several months with long-term holders being at these levels of losses, which means that Bitcoin can go a little bit lower. Even, who knows, maybe even the magic number that so many people are calling for, which is under $50,000. There is a chance that could happen. I would say, looking at a chart like this, that's not a high chance. But there's lots of things you could say in regards to that maybe this time's different. You know, people love to criticize the people who don't quite believe in four-year cycles, such as myself, for saying that this time's different. Well, you know what? Maybe this time's different, and you're right that we're going lower, and this time is just different in terms of Bitcoin bear markets. Whatever the case, here's the deal. Timing the bottom is not the ideal way to go about this. The ideal way to go about this is to be buying around the bottom, not at the bottom, because what if you miss? What if it goes lower? Or what if the bottom's already in? But around the bottom, scaling in your buys is the best approach right now. But that's all I have for this video. Do what you're going to do. For me, it makes sense to buy. I will see you in another video.